wine tasting, there's something similar. But the good thing about the coffee industry is at least there's some form of a fixed standard that most people are using to guide their taste profile or what they're trying to taste. And this will is all-encompassing, from your chocolatey flavors to your fruit flavors. And the reason why it's colored is also, like I said, give you sort of that association with color to make things easier. So what you're tasting just now would be around the fruity end of the wheel, so the top right hand side, around your one o'clock, that fruity. And within that fruity area, there's so many different other subcategories that you guys can explore into. But typically we try to split it into ripe versus dried fruit. Ripe fruits, more juicy, dry fruits, sort of that jammy sweetness that you taste in like processed jam, things like that. And so even within all these categories, it helps you even break down even more what you're tasting. But the most important thing I always say is you have to just do enjoy the coffee, right? Tasting the coffee, knowing more about it is important, but I think this is just to get a general sensing of, how do I know if what I'm tasting is correct, or how do I identify the flavor notes on the back? Which leads me on to what we're talking about, all the fruit flavors. So when I say watermelon, when I say peach, when I say grapefruit, there's no actual traces of these fruits in the coffee. Of course not. There's additives, right? What you're tasting is that it's the acidity and the sugars that are the same across the fruits. So for example, when I say orange, you are thinking of citric acid. It's because there are citric acid components in the coffee naturally deriving from the fruit itself that makes it to the final color. Or when I talk about like blueberry, blackberry, there are the sugars in these fruits are present in the coffee as a natural result of the coffee's processing and the way the coffee is growing. So this is what you're tasting, and that's why you associate it with them. And because these components are the same, you think back to the same thing that you had. So the one thing I always say is if you want to be able to identify more flavors in coffee, eat more fruits. Ever since I started working in coffee 8 years ago and like trying different fruits, star fruits, weird fruits, just to know what these fruits taste like. So that when I drink coffee, I'm like, oh, this is what it's supposed to remind me of. But also don't expect something crazy. Like obviously there are coffees that say strawberry, but you're like, maybe it's like a hint of strawberry. And that is what you're supposed to be tasting. Don't expect something too fruit forward. But then there are also coffees that if you guys ever get a chance to try, called cold ferment coffees. These coffees are actually fermented with the fruits itself, and they actually taste exactly like the fruit because of how intensely processed they've been. These coffees are the subject of very fierce discussions. There are many cafes and purists who don't consider it coffee because of how processed it's been. But like I always said, it's about personal preference. If you guys find that these fruity coffees that you like are enjoyable, then enjoy them. If you guys prefer your kopi O, your everyday more bitter coffee, and so be it. Next slide. Okay, so yeah, I'm done with my presentation today, but now I'm going to open the floor to a Q&A session so that everyone, if you guys have any coffee questions, anything at all, I will try my best to answer them. If I don't have an answer for you, I'll get back to you on an answer.